Tougen Anki or something like that. Chat, you will see it in the title when we post this. So this is one of those school anime, chat. The main character, there is one main character, but I don't know if we talked about it before, but there's a little bit of a trend you will see with anime, chat. That trend being you have, and there's only so many ways you can even do this, really. You have the main character who is with a group of people, or he's a solo kind of fighter who does all the, the real fighting, right? In One Piece, you have Luffy, who's slowly becoming that guy where he can probably solo. No, I don't think he. I haven't seen the newer One Piece episodes, but he did get a little bit of a power up. But even by himself, he still can't solo everybody. He still needs his team, right? Someone was saying how when the Japanese culture, because it's like, no, actually, I'm gonna save that for the next recording. But we have the main character who is an oni, some type of orc or something. Oni, really. You know what an oni is? Some type of fantasy creature. It's like an orc, but it's not. But something I've seen that I haven't really seen before is the main character using guns instead of swords. Everybody else uses swords, it seems, but he decides because he has a fascination with guns, he can turn his blood into a gun and start shooting bullets. I find that very fascinating. I haven't really seen an anime character who because they're always using some type of big sword or something like that, right? Right? Nomad says he a true American hero. Yeah, for real. He uses guns, man. And I find that very fascinating with this anime. So he gets captured. He's living a normal life. He's a teenager. He was living a normal life inside society. He gets attacked by some Oni hunters to try to get rid of him, and he ends up surviving that attack. He gets taken in by a school where you have, one of those characters I was telling you about from the last recordings we done, chat. We have these kind of characters. I bet just by looking at him, you can tell what kind of character he is, right? He's a bit like that character from Attack on Titan. He keeps the main character in line, all this other stuff. I don't like these characters. I've said it before. I don't like these characters. They're boring to me. No, they're not even boring. They're very unique. They're annoying to me, but they're very important. I acknowledge that they are very important. So he's testing our main character, say, hey, you gotta, he was just like, he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna kill you. That's the test. With this guy, the tests that he performs are like, you either pass or you die in this school. Also, one of the things that makes him unique is that he wears rollerblades. He's that's his quirkiness. You know how in the last anime we was talking about where the main character, he was like, a shut-in, but he was like very powerful. Like he has some kind of quirk to him. This guy, he's, on his P's and Q's. He's like suit and tie kind of type. Like a no nonsense type, really. But his quirk is that he's always working out and he always wears rollerblades to be more efficient, he says. I don't know why, chat, but I can go for a donut. Anyway, just want to throw that out there. King Raider said he bleeds red, white, and blue for real with all these guns. And this is the school that they live in. They're on an island, by the way, not the island, but they're on this island in the middle, in the middle of it is where the school is built. I hope that there's more students because you can't have a school this big with just so few students. That's weird. I want to see some more unique characters, right? One thing I don't want to see in this anime, we're about to start looking at the characters. One thing I don't want to see in this anime is flashing lights like Solo Leveling. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where everything's just fireworks. I cannot stress this enough. At some point, anime went from classic, fighting style and all this other stuff to just flashing lights. Oh, they're moving so fast you can barely see them. Yes, I get it. That's a problem. I don't want to see a fight scene where there's nothing to see. if I want to go see fireworks, I'll pull up a video to watch some fireworks. Fireworks aren't impressive to me, right? They're not. The only time I want to see fireworks is maybe on a video. But I'm not entertained by fireworks anymore. Maybe those drone things, but even then, so far, like, so when you see a fight scene where everyone's just moving so fast, there's no form, remember back in the day when Goku had like a fighting style, but now he just throws hands? Remember that? Yeah. They don't do that anymore. I still like Dragon Ball, right? I'm over ride or die with Dragon Ball. I'll hang with Dragon Ball until it's over. And I don't think it ever will be. But nowadays you have these main characters who just doing all this like aura farming, and they're doing all this aura farming, and you can't even see the fighting when things pop off. They're doing it. I think they're doing that because it's more of it's easier to animate than just a body moving in like specific form. I think that's why a lot of 3D 3D animation is going to start being a thing, because it's easier to do that, right? I've seen a few anime where the fighting just becomes 3D. King Remedy says, I remember in Naruto Part 1 when it was about ninjas, not aliens and gods. Boruto is getting better about it though. Really? Burrito. Really? I call it a burrito. But you were right about that. I wanted to see, that lady? I haven't seen the movie. I think it was a movie or an episode, and probably a movie, where the mother of all chakra or something like that lost because Naruto did some kind of a spoiler alert, but it's been out for a very long time. But she lost because Naruto did that sexy jutsu thing, and she got like kind of stunned for a second, and she got punched in the face or something like that. So I'm not sure how exactly she lost, but that's how she got hit. And I was like hoping for that scene that he uses talk no jutsu to like kind of calm her down, because she's a powerful character, but like the Hulk, they gotta nerf these characters or you can't have any more whatever. They gotta take them out of the picture because they're just too strong. So we have the class, right, chat? We have we see one of the main characters that well, not one of the main characters, but one of the very close. What do you call a main character that's not a main character? And immediately we have the main character butting heads with this one. He does that whole Naruto to Sasuke thing. I don't know why that's the case, but hey, there it is. I actually, when I was watching this, I had to kind of make myself watch it. I kind of lost interest at the first half, but after I saw the characters, I kind of got my interest back. I just kept watching it after I saw these side characters, these other characters, and the fact that he was like making guns out of his blood. King Remedy says, literally the dumbest thing ever. An alien god was beaten by the first ability ever taught in the anime. By the same standards, a kid could get lucky and do it. I would call her defeat kind of, I wouldn't call it dumb, but it is, I would call it silly. Yes. It's kind of like how, I don't know, I've always found it interesting. You know how if you're fighting someone in the street, and like you like, oh man, this guy's gonna beat me. You know the first thing you can do to stop the fight, huh? Is like you're scared of getting beaten. Aside from just running away, just take off your pants. Just start taking off your pants. They're gonna be like, nah, I'm good. You're insane, and he leaves. He leaves. There's like a 99%. If you're fighting a guy, a girl, I don't know. She would have to be really mad at you to be wanting to throw hands with you and confident enough to throw hands with you. But I've seen so many prank videos where this guy just picks a fight with other people. They're picking a fight with random people, and they're ready to start throwing hands. But the moment he starts getting naked and he's in nothing but a Speedo, the guy's like, no, I'm not fighting you. I'm not fighting a naked man. No one wants to fight a naked man, chat. Nobody wants to fight a naked man. King Remedy says, these characters can shoot beams and destroy mountains, but they won by taking off their shirt. She was a lady, chat. She was a lady. She was a lady. So maybe she was like, I haven't seen a buff body in like how many years? And she was like, she just got stunned, right? Like ladies are attracted to guys, and guys are attracted to the ladies. It's a biology. Sometimes Naruto would use that to his advantage to get what he wants. Someone should probably check Naruto. Is he like someone called the FBI on him just to check on him, just see what he's been up to. So anyway, we see the main characters. I don't know what this kanji means, chat. I think it's called kanji. Doctor, what's up? I think it's called kanji. And we have the characters are like looking pretty interesting, chat. They're not too, they're clearly a little bit of a cliche kind of characters, a little bit, right? But because there's only so many ways you can make a character. If you go back and look at all these characters you've seen in any anime, chat, just look at them all, right? And you start analyzing them. They're all kind of one-dimensional in some way. Like one's shy, one's meek, one's arrogant, one's over the top, one's this, one's that. They're all here's the thing. That is how normal people are. A lot of normal people are in real life. However, in anime, they kind of really pull it to the table. Like pull it they lay it out all on the table. They bring it up to the top. Doctor's using one of the emotes. Nice. They kind of lay it out on the table. So normally the shyness is normally internalized for a lot of people in real life, but in anime they just show it on the face, right? Like right there. Then you also have another one, like this more of a depressed type of character. They're there, chat. When anime or manga is made, you always have what is pretty much a list of characters, right? A list of a list of emotions that you pretty much pick from. Like for example, the bookkeeper in one of her books I forget what it's called. It was kind of like what is it called? What is one of her books called? Don't Cross the Bridge. There it is. It's called Don't Cross the Bridge. And in it are all these think of Al Capone if he was a kid, chat. And then think of all these other kids who are kind of like Al Capone. They're like hoodlums and they are just love fighting, right? It's pretty much Kids Next Door if it was on crack and way more violent, like in real and less silly. It's pretty much like that. Like, and each of those characters, they have their own personality. Some that complements others, right? Or some that clashes. You will find that in any manga and anime where you have less of a character. You have less of a character that is normal, that has a bunch of different emotions all mixed into one. But in anime and manga, you have more of all right, let's make this guy 99% depressed. Make this guy or 99% of a book nerd. Like he doesn't have any depression. He doesn't have any bubbly joy, or at least it's like 10%, right? Normal people are sitting around, good mix, right? If I had to compare this to food, which I do love comparing anime to food, right? If I compare these characters to food, they're kind of like overpowering flavors. There it is. Each flavor is overpowered. It's not, a happy balance. It's like way to one side. Or to gamers, right? An easier way for gamers to understand this. Fallout, where you have, I like to play all of my stats kind of balanced sometimes, but some people will put all of their stats, all their points into one stat. Brain, brawn, other things, charisma, right? Like that's pretty much what you're seeing here. Doctor says, what is this anime? This is called Tougen Anki. Yes. Doctor says, me when I'm reading FNAF books. Oh yeah, FNAF does got books, don't they? So we end up seeing the entire class, right? We've seen all the entire class. And even the bookkeeper noticed this too, by the way, chat. We have the two female characters who are in the anime who aren't flat-chested, right? The bookkeeper even said this. He's like, she's like, about time. She said, about time for representation, where some lady has like, you know, big boobs, because, you know, like I told you before, the bookkeeper has, you know, larger than normal, like larger than normal, right? And the bookkeeper doesn't personally like the word representation, but she does find it very weird that there's an attempt for a lot of anime, or not even necessarily anime really, a lot of shows to go away from big torso ladies, because apparently they don't want that to exist. I don't know. They're just like there's a quiet. She says there's a quiet attack on those types of women, really, and she finds it very odd, right? She does find it very odd. She said it's not like in reality though, it's not good for your back. So you want to have the, like, you know, good posture. But for the most part, like she said, she pointed that out, that there's a quiet attack on that. Doctor says smash. That's wild. That's wild. But this anime, I might pick up this anime. It's just how it started, kind of, you know. These are type of the animes that you would watch, chat, that are these are type of animes you would watch if you're new to anime, if that makes any sense. You're probably not. I personally wouldn't watch, or follow through with this, only because I've been spoiled by, you know, Naruto, Dragon Ball, like all, like with Solo Leveling, all these top notch anime. I'm not saying this isn't top notch. I'm not, you know, being mean by it. It's just, I feel like this is more baby's first anime, if that makes any sense. A lot of people who will, like most people, I feel like the most people who will enjoy this are the ones who are getting into anime. People who are already in anime will probably not follow through with this one, if that makes any sense. That's what I think. Anyway, chat, on with the rest of the show.